Welcome to Capture the Reps podcast, the podcast for fitness creatives by fitness creatives. Each episode, we will dive into techniques, strategies, and behind-the-scenes stories to help fast-track your career. Whether you're behind the camera or in front of it, this is the space to grow, create, and connect. Hit it, Sam. Welcome to Capture the Reps podcast. I'm your host, JT. I'm here with our producer, Chris Null.
Yes.
Did you think I forgot your name for a second there? What was that?
I did. I was scared.
I was trying to add like some type of like comedic flair to the fact that you're reluctantly producer, and I've kind of like voluntold you.
True.
But
I don't produce.
I think you produce at a high level. I don't know what you're talking about. Clearly, you do a lot of deadlifting and squats.
I think I produce, power output at the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe some photos here and there.
So today we're going to be talking specifically about events and how to manage covering multiple athletes at once, because we actually just did that. So it's fresh in our minds. So I figured we might as well hit on that. I was about to say Desert City Classic, NorCal Classic. The event was 100% outdoors.
Yeah, we were discovering how challenging it was to shoot at 12 noon.
So to lay out the lay of the land as to this competition, so you're in a park, Discovery Park, as we've mentioned. You're exposed to the elements. The events, because there are so many different divisions and people competing and all that, you're pretty much spread throughout the day. So you are forced whenever you are covering like elites to maybe film in the middle of the day, which wouldn't be an ideal situation for us filming or taking photos. But everything's completely exposed. You're in an open field. There are a little bit of trees and things like that can add some shadows, but mostly it's the unpredictability of the direct sunlight and how it's going to affect the colors and the balance of your visual. So knowing all of those things, Chris, like what are some things or some like little tips and tricks that you can do whenever you're not in the most ideal lighting scenarios, middle of the day, completely exposed to the elements? Like, what can you do as a photographer to put yourself in the best?
I think that's a good question, and it's challenging.
Thank you.
A challenging one. Oh boy, here we go. You just kind of have to get creative, and I know that's kind of like a broad.
Well, what did you specifically do? So you got creative, like what?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of the shooting we do, there's a lot of not ideal. I mean, that's kind of the nature of, I feel like, shooting fitness. I feel like whether it's a dark gym,
sure,
which you have the opposite issue of what you have the issue with having to have your ND filter its darkest setting, and then even still having to kind of finagle.
So one thing would be that ND filter, and then the ND filter, for people that don't know, they're considered to be sunglasses for your actual camera lens, and you can dial it in with different stops. So the higher the number of the stop, the darker the image is going to be, or the darker you're telling I guess I don't know the correct term, but the darker the image is going to be, the higher up it is. So we put those on our cameras in order to ensure that at least some of the brightness is cut down. So that'd be like number one.
Yeah, it's kind of like a outside way to adjust the internal camera settings. I think the hard part is like the only way to go, especially if you're trying to like maintain a certain aperture where you get like the good look, the photo that everybody's looking for, where it's like a blurry background and the subject is what's in focus. Mm-hmm. You have to like crank your shutter speed to like something that's super extreme.
Yeah, so you can do ND filters, you can adjust your shutter speed, and shutter speed, for those that don't know, if I go like this, you should see a natural wave. Like you should see my hand moving. If I turned up the shutter speed, what I'm telling the camera is when I go like this in the motion, I want all of it to be seen, right?
Yeah, there's like no blur.
Correct. So what Chris is referring to when he turns up his shutter speed, because in the fitness world, you are constantly in motion and your athletes are in motion, you want everything to be in focus to be able to see it. Yeah. And if you have a reduced shutter speed, you're going to achieve motion blur. And you don't want to achieve motion blur when you're trying to capture
Typically,
athletes
yeah.
and movement.
Yeah, and there are cool ways that you can achieve
No
motion
doubt.
power, for
No
sure.
doubt. That's
But
like
that's challenging.
yes. Then
That's for sure.
there's some guys that do amazing stuff with
Like a F1
manipulating that. Yes.
Like watching guys shoot F1 cars with
Yes.
like slow shutter, and then like the entire car is in focus.
Yes.
But then everything else is blurred, like the car is moving as fast as it's moving.
Yep.
That stuff's sick.
And I'll take the third thing. The third thing that that at least I did on my end was like I tried different angles. So I was constantly, if I was shooting straight down a lane, so in a CrossFit competition, you have like 18 lanes or so, sometimes a little bit less. And you have the ability from the media pit to shoot directly down the lane at your subject or your athlete that you're covering. Or obviously within the media pit, you can move down and kind of shoot down through other lanes and different. So I was trying everything from, utilizing the barricade that was there to shoot eye level. Then I shot below, then left, then right. I'm just trying to give myself the most amount of most amount of like footage to look back at so that whenever I am in post, I have so many opportunities to get the same movement.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd say ND filter, I would say change your shutter speed, and I would say just try a bunch of different angles because if you stay in the same spot, you're going to achieve the same image over and over again. You don't want to do that.
That goes back to like the being creative. I mean, shoot in ways that you wouldn't normally, right? Like, because I feel like that is something that's so true. Like when you're getting more comfortable, you can kind of get into this like autopilot where it's like shots that work.
Yep.
And then it's like you find yourself consistently taking the shots that that work.
Exactly.
But
right.
then you're like, dang, I wish you like kind of go back. I have this philosophy in my head that I've had since I started photography, and it's always, I think I told you when we were in Sacramento, and it was always take the shot. Like if you have a shot, if you have a thought in your head, like we were on a hike the day before. I went on a hike with some of our friends while we were in Sacramento, and I told them the same thing. And there was this bridge, this huge bridge over top of where we were hiking, and I kept stopping to take pictures of it. And I think one of them asked, like, did I really like the bridge or something? And I was like, not necessarily that I really like the bridge, but when my brain says, as a creative, take the photo, I take the photo. Because I never want to sit down at my computer, be editing, and think back, damn, I wish I took that photo. Because you can always take the photo.
Yep.
And if it sucks,
Yep.
you just delete it.
Right.
But so I try to encourage people, like, in that way, get creative. Like, take photos from every which angle, and if it sucks, then trash it.
Yeah, so it's like whenever you're, maybe your athlete isn't going, whoever you're covering or the brand you're working with or whatever, it's like, get crazy. Like,
practice a shot on another athlete.
Yeah,
Nobody's
take crazy shots, and then you can just delete them if they're not good.
Absolutely.
And then if you like that shot, then okay, great. Now whenever your athlete comes up and your heat comes up or whatever, like the real reason why I wanted you on though was to talk because we had how many athletes that we were covering?
So we had one team. We had one team, and then 1, 2, 3.
We had a good amount of athletes that we were covering.
5 athletes in a team?
5 athletes, and some
they're
were
all different divisions, except for 2 of the athletes.
Yes,
that were elite males.
we had 2 that were in the elite, and then I covered another elite additionally as well.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of athletes that we were covering. So
humble brag though.
Going into this weekend, we knew we had a lot on our plate.
Yeah.
So we knew we needed to be very structured and have that. So like looking back at the weekend that we had, just based off of your experience, like what went really well? What would you tell people, hey, before you go to any event, it doesn't have to be a CrossFit event. It could be a High Rocks event. It could be a football game, a high school football game.
Yeah.
Like what do you need to do before you get there in order to make sure that, and I'm just talking about before you get there, to make sure that you have success?
I think our schedule, I think how we made that schedule, the shared note schedule, I think that was really helpful. Obviously things can change and we kind of adapted to that on the fly, but having a schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, like again, as an example, like when you shoot like a wedding, like if you have like those notes in that schedule that you can constantly refer to, I feel like it takes a lot of stress away.
Yeah.
Because even if things change, it's relatively around the same time, right? So you kind of know like who's our next focus, right? Like if JT's about to go, okay, we got to go to JT. Okay, CJ's going next. Okay, we know that where we're going to be next is going to be in this general vicinity.
I haven't gone since like 2021. I'm a washed up quarterfinals athlete, but I appreciate that. Shout out.
You did a competition.
That's okay. It's fine. They don't need to know about that. So with that schedule, detailed, right? So typically, at least in the CrossFit space, there are different what they'll call stages or just basic competition floors.
Yeah.
So if you're at a bigger event, they'll have 3, sometimes 4 different floors. So you need to identify where it's happening first.
Yeah.
The second thing that you need to do is identify the time.
Who?
Because I was going to say time first because it doesn't even necessarily mean.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So time, not saying you're wrong. It's equally as important because it's like you get there, who you actually going to film.
He can say
so if you do the time aspect, then you know, okay, I'm at, I think one was like Frogs Battleground, no free ads, at 9:45, and then you would have the person, you would have the lane.
Yeah.
And then typically what I usually do, and I didn't do it this time around, was have some type of descriptor of the workout. So I know what movements they're doing because to your point, we have multiple athletes, multiple different divisions. So the workouts are going to change based off the divisions. You're running from floor to floor, stage to stage. So making sure that you know the time, where it's happening, the lane, and the person, which all are readily available before the competition starts. That's probably the first point.
It alleviates a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Because when the day comes, that's when you don't really have as much time to think.
No, so you have no time to think.
Yeah, if you take away, because in my opinion, you need to take away as much outside problems, like control every variable you can is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So if you control those variables, then you can focus on delivering the best product for the athlete, the client, the whatever, the brand. Because again, there were multiple instances in which we were like, hey, this person's going in 2 minutes and we just watched so-and-so finish and they're on the other side of the park. So we're running across Discovery Park with our cameras in tow, like,
yep.
Okay, we got to go. Like, we got to be there and we got to go.
I'll throw in like a bonus thing too with the schedule is like with the workout descriptions, this is all pre-planning. If you know the workout is going to be a shorter time domain, like make note of that because then you know that, okay, my transition time from the one stage to the next stage or the one whatever to the next one is going to be a lot quicker or a lot slower or whatever it is. The other thing within that is the movement. So from a video standpoint, you can speak from a photo standpoint. From a video standpoint, I don't have to get the person doing 1 million rope climbs. I need probably a rope climb from 3 different angles or something like that I can make seamless.
Yeah.
Right? And then I move on to the next movement. Okay. So if there's 3 movements, the time domain is like 18 or so minutes. You can then make a business decision. Hey, I need to be there. I need to document what's happening, but then I have a hard out at this time because I know I need to be on the next spot at whatever time.
Yeah. And to touch on that from a photography standpoint, it's when you have a 20-minute workout versus a 4-minute workout, because I'm a big like proponent of not overshooting. Because it's a big problem.
Yeah.
I mean, you overshoot. Storage is a large issue once you get into the space. You start to realize quickly like how challenging that can be. But when you're shooting a 20-minute workout, overshooting for that looks different than overshooting for a 4-minute workout. Exactly. Whereas when you go to shoot a 4-minute workout, you better be holding that shutter button down far more within that 4-minute span because there's only so much you can get.
Yep.
Whereas like, let's just have a hypothetical. There's a 20-minute workout where they're sitting on a bike for 3 of those minutes at the start.
Right.
Okay. You can get a shot of the bike.
Right.
Then you can move somewhere else.
Right.
Get another shot of the bike. Move somewhere else. Get another shot of the bike. Okay. But you don't have to like sit there and hold the shutter button down 14 million times, right? And take 10,000 photos for one event when the event's 20 minutes long.
Yep.
Right. But an event's 4 minutes long, for me personally, I'm looking at that like I need to take a lot more pictures.
Yep.
in the sense that I'm trying to capture more things in less time.
Yeah.
Whereas again, we had a row run event, and it's like, okay, there's only so many pictures I can take of somebody on a rower.
Right.
But that's also, to go back to the point we talked about earlier, that's also another opportunity to get creative.
Yep.
Right? Like find a different angle, find a different shot style, a different shot type.
So that's the first point. What would be something else that we did, or perhaps I can think of something that we didn't do, but something else you would do on the pre-production side?
I would say knowing your space, like getting there early or before, if possible. Right?
Yeah, like during like athlete check-in or something?
Yeah, like sometimes that's not entirely possible.
Right.
But for us, at least for me, you were coming from somewhere else. But for me, I was able to see the space on athlete check-in day. And we did photos, which was really cool. And everybody appreciated it, right? It was like everybody had their little signs, and we got to do pictures, and then like with significant others and stuff. But it gave me an opportunity to like get a lay of the land, kind of see what we were working with, see the athlete warm-up area, see both stages, see what our shooting scenarios are going to look like, whether that's how the lighting might look at certain points in the day,
right,
or how, like, where we as media people will be able to access the floor, and stuff like that. So, and
it's important too, because regardless, things are going to change slightly. Like, nothing ever goes like according to plan. When we look back at the schedule, our first point, like, things are going to happen and change during the schedule. Things are going to happen and change during the setup, right? Yep. So going off of and kind of expanding upon what you were saying there. So like, what I really like to look at is like, okay, like, where's the rig positioned, or like where the mat's positioned? Like, what's going to be around them, during each movement, or like what are like the different stations or something like that. So, case in point, I try to do all of this now so that whenever it does come across and it does happen, like later on, I at least know these things, and then I can adjust. So, looking at how the floor is laid out, all of those things, to your point, the lighting, all that kind of stuff, I think that's largely important. And then just knowing how far away the different stages are, the different setups are from each other. Yeah. So knowing like, hey, the one that was like the rowing one that's in the very middle of the entire place is going to be there. But on the far other end is like where all the barbell type work is. And just knowing that, so I know, again, the transition times.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even like we utilize the run route, and like I utilize that for some of my shooting. Obviously, you can't be in multiple places at one time.
Right.
But that's another way I was trying to get creative, is I literally like ran down the run route and met the athletes where nobody else was taking photos.
Yeah. So let's transition then into like the actual competition. So like that's all the pre-production stuff. Then once the competition actually starts.
Yeah.
Again, if you're by yourself, it's quite different than if you're with a team.
For sure.
So to your point, you can't be at two places at once.
Absolutely.
So you need to look at changing up, like we were talking about before, changing up the angles, doing all of that kind of stuff. So talk me through like now it's game day, you're at event one, like how are you putting yourself in the best chances of succeeding, knowing that this is athlete 1 of 8 that you're covering today?
You have to know like where you start, right? Like where you're going to be when you're going to start. I mean, obviously I'm always trying to get there an hour before my first athlete goes.
So that's a good point right there.
Yeah, like whenever
get there early.
Whenever especially when you have like a large team of athletes. I mean, again, that kind of goes into the prep, but when you think about like, okay, we're in the weekend, that's something I'm thinking about the night before of each day, right? So I'm knowing when we get there, like when me and Tori and Ben pulled up, I already knew where I was going to be, right? Like, let's say you are doing the event on the rowing field, and you're my first athlete of the day. I'm getting there an hour before your event, right? I'm getting there an hour before your event and making sure that like I have everything that I need, which again should be done in right? Like I'm obviously not going to leave the house without every possible
right. I mean,
circumstance.
There's certain stuff that goes without saying for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But also just like familiarizing yourself with the lay of the land in the sense that like you're going to have to take care of yourself throughout the day, I think that's something
that's really important.
Yeah, I think that's something that goes kind of. I think it's kind of like a stigma, and in my experience, a lot of creatives like joke and play around about it, like, oh yeah, I'm running on 3
I didn't eat
hours
today.
of sleep and 600
haven't had any
milligrams
water.
of caffeine. Yeah, like you see the memes on Instagram Reels and TikTok and all that, but like at the end of the day, like that's not a healthy and sustainable way to live, right? And so like this is Coach Chris coming out now.
Your quality of work's going to go down too.
Exactly, 100%.
So hey, you might be fine event 1, 2, 3, but
yeah, and there might be this like underlying resentment that builds, right? Because we've all experienced working when we're on no sleep. We've all experienced that. Like I don't know any person that hasn't experienced that, except for teenagers and people younger than them.
Right.
Once you're in the working human field, right? Like once you're doing something for full time in the living, I think everyone's experienced that to some degree.
Yeah.
And to JT's point, your work is going to decline.
Yeah.
And when your work declines and you sit down and you're not happy with it, right? It can kind of be this like really crappy cycle. So I would say game day, like make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, like you're there for your athletes, but if you aren't in the right headspace, the right food space, the right hydrated space, right? You're going to deliver less quality to your client than you might even realize. And again, it's funny to joke like, oh yeah, we slept 3 hours and had 3 white monsters. But at the end of the day, that's not a good thing, right? It's not a good way to keep living. And I think, in my opinion, it creates burnout. That doesn't mean, I'm anti like work hard, but
there's a healthy balance between working hard and just working.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Right. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, yes, you are there for your athletes, but guess what? And I don't know. I guess me and JT, I feel like we're kind of the same way in this. Like, yes, we were working a lot that weekend, but then, in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, but y'all are working. And there were multiple times our athletes said to us like, yeah, but y'all are doing way more than we're doing. It's not a problem to like ask your athletes for help.
Yeah.
Right. Like, cause there's a lot of downtime for them sometimes.
And they're athletes, they typically have their friends and family with them, or they have their gym behind them. You see spectators, accept help. And then talk to me through like, as the day progresses, like, what are you looking for? You can even speak to our, experience at NorCal. If there was something specific that came up, that would be helpful for, people to really take in.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be learned from what other people do too. And I think that kind of goes back to me talking about like autopilot earlier. You can learn a lot from just looking at another photographer doing the same thing you're doing.
So see what other creatives are doing.
Yeah, 100%. And like, if you're like, oh wow, I didn't think to do something like that, or like think to get a shot from that angle, like go try it. I mean,
I've never had another creative be like mean or like nasty or anything to me. Like everyone's super approachable.
Yeah,
because we're all there for the same purpose.
Absolutely.
We're all there trying to capture and deliver great stuff.
We all know how stressful it can be.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think you just have to get out of the box. And I laugh when I say that because there are usually certain areas for media people, right? Like the media pit, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to only take pictures in there.
Correct.
Right? You don't only that's not the only spot you can be.
Correct.
Like you can go take pictures from somewhere else.
No doubt.
I found you and I both leaving the media pit plenty of times to take pictures from
I think one of the coolest shots is like whenever you can incorporate the crowd in an image.
Oh, absolutely.
Have them in the foreground, then have the athlete completing some type of feat or some type of like major accomplishment. I think that's huge. So
and it gives, again, I guess for people like want to take something away from this, like
they better. That's why they're listening.
Well, but so what I mean by that is like it can help you stand out in a way that because again, people get caught and defined by that box, right? Like I don't know. It even makes me start thinking about right now, like, damn, there's some shots I wish I took now that I'm thinking back and in taking this own advice, right? Like there are plenty of ways I could have got more creative, especially on those longer workouts, right? So again, something to take away, even for myself, is like, get out of the box, right? Like you don't have to, and if you have floor access, awesome. Like usually people that have floor access, that opens up a whole nother level of shots you can take, but that doesn't mean stay on the floor the whole time.
Correct. Absolutely.
Right?
Unless like, disclaimer, like if you're hired from the event, you're answering to an event director, different scenario, but that's a brilliant point. Is like you don't pigeonhole yourself into only being the floor person.
Yeah, and I think again, it goes to the point of like, yes, JT and I were a team at this event, but we both had different goals. Like you're shooting video and I'm shooting photo, right? Which definitely I feel like eases some of the pressure because there are times that you want to do both. There's sometimes that you're expected to do both.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that's a lot.
It is.
It is a lot, especially when like for me, I'm more of a photography person, and for you, you're more of a video person.
Yep.
So it also comes like we're able to deliver better on that own respective part.
We're going deeper on what we're specifically. So that's the idea of like working with a team. Why you work with a team.
Exactly.
Specific drill downs.
Yeah, and so to me, that makes me think back to like. We're talking about the running event a second ago, right? Like I was going down the route. Like I went down the route. I never saw another photographer down there. Every single time I went down the running route, and there was like this huge, like kind of enclosed space. There was like a bunch of thick shrubbery and trees and these huge like power lines. And I was the only photographer that was there ever.
Right.
And again, like back to your point, the people that are working those events are kind of expected to stay in certain places. But if you have the opportunity to be creative, to go outside of the box, to not feel like you need to be confined to a media pit or confined to a floor, do it. I think as creatives, we are constantly in this like strive for perfection. That like when we finish something, there's always a little more that we wish we could have given, no matter how happy the client might be with the product, right? And I think there's...
So how do you overcome that?
Something to be said about that. How do I overcome that? That's a great question.
Thank you.
I think... I'm going to stop boosting this man's ego. That was an average question.
Fair.
That's a challenging one, and it does kind of get my mind going because there are plenty of times where I've delivered something that I was happy with to a client, but that I always felt like there could have just been a little better. Even when the client hits me back with, "This is perfect. I love everything about it. It's amazing." And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with the pursuit of perfection in what we do or in anything, really.
Right.
I think that's what can be a driving factor for a lot of people, especially in the space. I think the important thing to come with that is to not beat yourself up about it, to not get caught up in it, to not get caught in this like self-deprecation of like, it wasn't exactly what I wanted.
Right.
Especially when other people love it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think if we want to get personal here, like that's something that I struggled with the most recent event we shot. Right. Even some of the pictures I delivered, I was just like, I'm just not. I literally told, I can't remember who I told, somebody at the gym yesterday. I said,
CrossFit Magna, shout out to CrossFit Magna.
Shout out to CrossFit Magna, big time. Big Magna guy here.
New member.
Big, relax.
Couple months in. I don't know. I get so close to the microphone sometimes.
And he's all about that ASMR.
Sorry.
I've seen his YouTube suggested feed. Also, I have brought like 10 members to Magna, by the way. Hashtag.
Technically, all those fall under me in our Ponzi scheme. So
he's an MLM.
Those are all
he's an MLM
my
for Magna.
members. How that works. The hierarchy of it all.
What were we talking about?
No, we're saying how do you overcome?
I'm getting personal.
Yeah.
I just told somebody yesterday at Magna. I said, this is exactly what I said. I said, my expectation for myself going to that event, I did not meet it. And I was unhappy with a lot of the work that I came up with. And somebody next to me, one of the athletes that we shot, was like, "Chris, shut up." He's like, "Shut up. You did an incredible job. Everybody loved everything you put out. And it was nice to hear that in that way. You know, I guess like everybody needs to hear things differently, right? Like I was a coach for 8 years, and you can't coach every person the same way.
Right.
But that was truly a feeling that I was feeling, and over the course of the entire weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice to hear that from one of the athletes whose opinion I value highly, right?
Yeah. Sometimes we don't realize the impact that we have on other individuals.
Yeah.
And what we can do to enhance their experience of an event or whatever. It's like on our side, it's like, oh, I missed this shot. I didn't like this.
Yes.
I didn't like that. On their side, they're like, I am so glad that I had that photographer, that
moment.
video person to capture that moment for my friends and family that couldn't make it or whatever it is. Like we forget that a lot.
Yes. And I think a good way to kind of put that feeling into perspective for everyone, I think, especially in a social media age, is there will be plenty of times, and this happened to me plenty of times, where you see a picture get posted of the same place you were at, and you're like, I like that picture they did way better than anything I did.
Yep.
And that can be a feeling, but at the same time, it's not something you need to dwell on. It's an opportunity to learn, and it's opportunity to say, hey, that's something that I can bring with me to the next competition or game or meet or whatever it is you're shooting, wedding, it doesn't matter, right? Whatever it is. But at the same time, Instagram's not real. And I look at it as like when people post their shirtless gym selfie pictures in perfect lighting, and it's like, that's not how that person looks every single time.
Yeah.
And not to say that like that doesn't mean that photographer's not good, right? It's just like, that doesn't mean you're a bad photographer,
right?
Because you didn't get that shot, or that doesn't mean you're a bad videographer because you didn't think to shoot something in a certain way, right? That's what's cool about what we do, is there's always a different way to do something.
Yep.
There's always a different way. There's always a new way. There's constantly new stuff coming out.
Yep.
Right. To do things in a different way.
Yeah.
But you can't get caught up in all that.
Yeah.
Just like you can't get caught up in like the Instagram trap.
Yeah, I'm not showing any missed reps on my like highlight reel.
Yeah,
I'm
not showing like a failed, like I'm not showing somebody failing their squat clean with terrible form. You know, like I'm not showing.
Not going to call anyone out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like the only time that those aspect of things factor in is whenever we look at an athlete when you're telling more of a story, which typically you don't tell stories on Instagram. Like I know that's kind of like, but to tell a story in under
very differently.
Yeah, they're told quicker. You can't really allow for much emotion. It's like very fast, very like hard cutting. But like on YouTube or something like that, then you show an athlete
12-minute video.
Yeah, you show an athlete missing a few reps.
Yeah.
Look into the crowd.
Yeah.
Chalking back up. Or you see a person going through high rocks and they're breathing out of control.
Yeah.
They're like trying to do these burpee broad jumps and they're like, what?
Or even it like callbacks. Like, hey, last 2 months ago at that event that you did, you've failed.
Yeah.
And here's a callback to that and show that your grit and determination brought you to the event you're at now and that you're working your butt off to show the world and yourself that like, hey, I can do better than what I did previously, right? Like,
I think that brings us to our next point to get back on track slightly.
I'm the yapper.
Not saying anything.
I'm the yapper.
So that third point I would say would be, you're arriving to the venue early, you're setting yourself up, and then I would say you also want to watch the other creatives and what they do. I also think you want to watch the athletes and how they're moving throughout, the field. So typically we don't have the ability to show up early before our heat begins.
Yeah.
Typically that's not the case. If you have the luxury of being able to do that, that's when you can practice some shots, you can do different things, but you can also see the natural cadence of the movement and like when people are finishing and all that kind of stuff so that you can better prepare yourself so that to your
For that
point,
event,
do not overshoot and
Yeah.
you're like doing a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
If I know if someone's only hitting the rope once and I'm in the intermediate division and they're hitting it once and none of the athletes got to the second round of rope climbs, I know I need to get that rope climb shot immediately.
Yeah.
Whereas if all of the athletes are getting through 3 or 4 rounds, okay, pressure's off.
Yeah,
I don't have to worry
You have
about
a lot more opportunities.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because it's about finding the opportunities and taking them. And that's kind of what the entire weekend was.
Yeah.
Is like taking opportunities to do what we're there to do.
Yeah.
And I think to go even deeper into that, like knowing your athletes specifically, because if you,
It's a good point.
as you start to, especially if it's with an athlete, fortunately for us, the athletes we shot that weekend, we are very comfortable with, we have a relationship with outside of like a professional realm.
Yep.
But there's something to be said about knowing that person, that individual,
Yeah.
like, because what I notice over the course of the weekend, most of those individuals, the way they walk out is the same each event. The way they walk up to their judge, the way they communicate with their judge, the way they finish the event.
Creatures of habit.
Yeah, 100%. The way they come over to the end, like, or the way they act in the corral, like. But there's a lot that you can capture in those moments. But if you know where and what to capture in those moments,
Yeah.
I mean, that can be huge and take stress off.
Yeah.
Because that's the ultimate, in my opinion, that's like the ultimate thing about shooting big events like that. It's like, for your own sanity and sake, is like stress relief. Like take away, like we said earlier, take out as many variables as you can.
As many variables as you
Take
can.
away all the variables, right? And that way, when there are variables, you
Yep.
can adapt to them.
And I'll go off of, so we talk about, their routines and all of that kind of stuff. Another thing is movement patterns. So like,
Oh yeah,
I know, like, for example, Cole Anderson, I know his squat. Like,
Yeah.
I know I can tell when he's gonna break, when he's not, because I filmed him so many times. And like,
or how fast he's going to rope climb.
Right.
So you only have 2 seconds to get his rope climb.
Correct. Like Josh Petlawani, same type of idea. CJ Gerald, same idea. So like
Yeah.
all of the guys that I've habitually filmed over the years, like I know all their movement patterns and I can tell, when they're tired, when they're good. I almost like, I feel like I could never coach them. But I
Yeah.
feel like I could give feedback to a coach, like, hey,
Yeah.
he was really struggling with this again, whatever it was, or really excelled really here.
Yeah.
So yeah, knowing your athlete, knowing your movement patterns, knowing their rituals and how they like to set themselves up for success, all of that stuff goes in. And then I would say, behind the scenes aspect, if you're interviewing them when they come off the floor, stuff like that, for that kind of content, or maybe you're taking photos with them and family.
Yeah.
Being able to attach, like, hey, they were successful in that event, so let's capitalize on that. Let's get them talking, or for your purposes, let's get them smiling. But also knowing as a creative, hey, if they have like a event, give them space.
Yeah,
Like, don't be shoving a camera in their face and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think to double down on that, it depends on the athlete. Like there are some athletes that are probably a little more open to talking about an event they didn't do too well in.
No doubt.
Versus some that you just got to know, like, hey, it's all right. I know that they need their space.
Yep.
Give it to them, like
Yep.
you said.
The next point I would hit on is, during the course of the day, you're filming a lot of athletes, and looking at that schedule, you need to schedule in your break time so you can charge, offload footage, whatever. We ran into a crazy scenario where we showed up to 3 different coffee shops and they didn't have like tables for us
Oh
to
my
sit down,
God.
which was really weird.
Insane.
I've never had that happen, but having those scheduled break times and that kind of thing so that you can offload footage. For me, you can offload footage. For you, offload photos. Get that process rolling.
Yeah.
For me, specifically on the video side, I like to see what I'm working with. So if I'm like event 1, okay, I didn't get any crowd shots. I didn't get any reaction shots. I didn't get any wides of like the actual place itself. I can then factor that into my filming the rest of the day. Okay, I need to get more crowd shots. I need to get more wide shots. I need to whatever. And then also you can start the process for me of sifting through everything and pulling stuff out. And we are going to talk to Steph, an editor, in a future podcast. She's on the schedule. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
About how to best do that. So I don't want to dive into that too much on the editing side and the post-production side and all that kind of stuff. Well, if you do, you can watch the future episode whenever it does come out. But that's what I would say.
I'm producing, by the way.
Yes, you are. Have that scheduled in there and ready to rock and all that kind of stuff. And then I would say, the final thing on the competition side is you got to frequently check that schedule, because as we didn't have happen in NorCal, but has happened to us previously, is things get pushed back, things get altered, all of that kind of stuff. So you really need to stay on that schedule. So whether it's Competition Corner, whether it's whatever else is out there, make sure you're checking the schedule every once in a while when you do have breaks too, just to make sure that you're falling apart. So I'd say all of that covers, how to film or take photos of a bunch of different athletes at one event. Anything else you want to add in there, or do you think that's like a good starter list for people? I'm sure we can reconnect at the next event after the next event.
I just, if you want to, if your brain says take the shot, whether it's video or photo, if your brain tells you get a shot, get the shot. That's all I have to say.
Simple as that.
Yep.
All right. Well, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. What do the people say? Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, tag 5 people.
Tag 5 people.
Download this episode, delete it, re-download it, all of those fun things.
Create a new Spotify account, download it again.
Exactly. No, so what we really want to try to do with this podcast, like I said in the open, really build that community aspect, really help out the young photographers, videographers, people in the creative world in the fitness industry. Those are our people. So hopefully you found this episode useful, and stay tuned for future ones.
Let's go.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Capture the Reps podcast. If you're a fitness creative and you found this episode helpful, please share this with a fellow creative, and keep creating, keep learning, and keep capturing those reps. We'll see you next time.